Good morning, students. I hope you're doing well today. Welcome to Introduction to Business course. And we are going to start today with Chapter 1, a look at wants and needs. Okay, before I start telling you what are wants and what are needs and diving deep into the chapter, I want to discuss with you what is the importance of business in our lives. Why do businesses open in an economy? Why do we have a supermarket and clothing stores and electronic stores and all the stores that we buy goods and services from? Why do we need them? Simply and very generally speaking, and please concentrate very well على اللي أنا هقوله دلوقتي. Businesses are present in an economy in order to satisfy your needs. For example, if you have a business idea that you want to sell t-shirts online, therefore you're satisfying a certain want or need that people want to wear a certain style of clothing that you think you are able to achieve. Therefore, by achieving it and satisfying this need, you are going to obtain money in return. So the whole point of a business is to satisfy the people in regard to their wants and needs. This is the whole concept of business in general. This is the basis from which we are going to build upon from now on until the end of the year, inshallah. طيب. Since we agreed upon that businesses exist in order to satisfy people's wants and needs, let us begin by talking about what are wants and what are needs. What is the difference between these two? من الواضح كده ان they are both some things that we want. We are satisfied by our wants and by our needs. However, we do not know what is the difference between a need and a want. And why is a certain need بقول عليها need and a want بقول عليها want. ليه قلت كل terminology for each and every word. Let us start first with the needs. Needs يا جماعة are things that you must have in order to survive. يعني without these needs you are going to die. Needs are things you must have in order to survive. They are necessary for survival. For example, food, shelter and clothing. Without food you are going to die. These are things that I cannot, in the long run, I cannot be able to stay alive or to survive in the world without having food, shelter and clothing. Okay? Without needs you will die. أنا ليه قلت الكلمة دي كذا مرة? Because this is the main factor that distinguishes between a need and a want. Needs are necessary for the day-to-day life, and they are very few, by the way. Food, water, shelter, clothing, companionship, to be married to someone, to live with someone. طب Miss Salma, I can live by the way without shelter. My heart is not going to stop beating if I'm not living in a house. There are a lot of homeless people on the street. Yes, you are very true. However, the death rates regarding homeless people are much higher than people living in their houses, because you are exposed to a lot more bacteria and illnesses and diseases. The same goes with clothing. The same goes with companionship. I can live alone, by the way, and this will not make me die. But research suggests that people who are married or people who live with someone live longer than people who live alone. So it does not have to kill you on the spot like food, because without food you are going to die within a matter of days. But you have a better chance of living if these needs are met. Okay, let us move to the wants. Wants are things that you wish you could have. Each person has wants. هما شوية حاجات أنا عايز أشتريهم، أنا عايزهم يبقوا عندي. Simply they are things that you just want to purchase things that you want. For example, a mobile phone, a laptop, a vacation. Mobile phones و laptops are extremely important. However, if you live your whole life without one, you are not going to die. طيب انا هنا هخش معاكم في argument مهمة قوي. لا يا مس سلمى, by the way, without mobile phones you're not going to reach people. You will be practically living alone because you're not connected to the world. You will be very lonely. You could go into a car accident and die because you do not have a mobile phone to call the ambulance. And I will tell you that this is extremely true. علشان كده في حاجة اسمها necessary wants. Necessary wants are wants that are necessary for the day-to-day life. وأهم necessary want is the smartphone. In this day and age, you cannot live without a smartphone. However, it does not have a direct contact on your physical well-being. فاهمين الفرق ما بين for example food and shelter والسمارتفون؟ الفود and shelter عندهم a direct consequence وهيأثروا negatively على صحتكم. However, not owning a smartphone will make your life really really hard. However, it will not directly affect your physical well-being. علشان كده أنا برضو ما أقدرش أقول على السمارتفون is a need. Okay? Technically speaking, it's a very necessary want. However, it is not a need. So, in order to recap, a need is something that you cannot live without, and without a need you may die. However, a want is something that you purchase and it makes your life easier and it makes your life better, more luxurious. For example, a fancy vacation, a nice shoe, a designer brand. Let me give you an example. لو قلت لكم في الفود, food is a need. However, caviar and smoked salmon and exotic fish and meats, they are actually wants. طب Miss Salma, they are still food. But if you did not eat caviar, you're not going to die. I do not want you to memorize. I want you to use your mind and to understand what is the difference between a need and a want. Okay. I have two types of wants, public want and a private want. وباين كده من اسمهم. A public want is one, or public wants are wants that are shared by many people. It is a public want. It is a want that is exercised and it is shared by many people. That is why it is called public. For example, education. For example, military services. مش احنا كلنا we enjoy the safety of our country and we enjoy having a military service in our country. So this is a public want. Public transportation. All these are public wants. طيب, who satisfies these public wants? The federal government. مين اللي بيساتسفاي الكلام ده؟ مين اللي بيدينا ال public wants؟ The government. هي اللي بتدينا ال public wants in order to satisfy in order to satisfy wants that are shared by many people. Throughout المنهج إن شاء الله we're going to dive deeper into the ones that are given to us by the government. However, until now I only want you to know what is the meaning of a public want and know the examples. لو تاخدوا بالكم أنا مش كاتبة هنا غير education. I want you to write in your copybook that you're taking notes with me. I assume that you're taking notes. اكتبوا public transportation, اكتبوا military services, because الكلام الزيادة اللي بقوله ده I may expect it from you in the exam and in quizzes إن شاء الله. طيب تعالوا بقى نتكلم على ال private wants. Private wants are very easy. They are wants that vary between one individual to another. يعني ايه؟ يعني ال private wants يا جماعة is the same as ال wants اللي احنا لسه عاملين لها definition من 30 ثانية. Private ones are normal ones. They are ones that vary between one individual to another. For example, someone wants a mountain bike, someone wants a Nike shoes, someone wants a laptop or an iPad or a designer bag. It depends. Okay, so this is a want that is private for me. However, education and military services are ones that we all share and we all want to enjoy. We agreed at the beginning of the chapter and before we start that businesses are the ones who satisfy our needs and wants, and this is actually the core purpose of any business activity in an economy. But how do businesses satisfy our needs and wants? What do they do in order to satisfy our needs and wants? What do they produce? They produce two things, one or the other or both at the same time. Let us see. Satisfying wants and needs with goods and services. Businesses satisfy our needs and wants either producing goods or producing services or producing both. What is the difference between a good and a service? And this is a very important part, and it's a very important part of the exam. I always get a question related to the difference between goods and services. Let us start with the goods. Goods can be physically weighed or measured. It is something that I can hold in my hand and it is physical. I can weigh it, I can measure it, I can touch it, I can smell it. Okay? Goods satisfy your wants and needs for material things that you can see or touch. For example, the pen that you're writing with, the chair that you're sitting on and listening to this lecture, the mobile phone that you have in your hands, the laptop that you have, the clothes that you have on your body. All these are goods. Why are they goods? Because I can physically weigh them. They can be measured. 1 shoe, 2 shoe, 3 shoes. Okay? And I can hold them in my hand. They are material things. Okay. Type. What are services? Services, on the contrary from goods, they cannot be touched. Services are tasks that people or machines perform. For example, teaching is a service. I am providing you, the students, with a service by teaching you this class today. This is a service that I am performing. It is a task. You cannot touch it and you cannot smell it and you cannot weigh it. Okay? Services also satisfy some of your wants and needs that you cannot see or touch. For example, having a massage, teaching, someone driving you. You cannot touch the driving itself. The car is a good, but the driver and Ubering to another place, Uber is a service. However, the car itself is a good. Do you understand the difference between a good and a service? Because this is very, very important. Companies that provide both goods and services. Does every company have to decide whether to produce goods only or services only? Well, can companies decide to produce both? Definitely, and actually, most companies decide to produce both goods and services. It is very rare to find a company that produces either goods or either services. طبعا companies they are there. However, most companies now that produce goods, they also produce services. For example, Apple. Apple produces goods اللي هي iPhones, iPads, AirPods. However, they also produce services, because if your iPhone's screen got broken, they provide you with an after-sale service of fixing your screen. For example, Toyota sells cars, so they sell a good. However, there is an after-sale service اللي هو التوكيل, where they do a regular checkup on your car and see if there is something that needs to be fixed. Another very popular company that provides goods and services is actually any restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, do you cook your own food? Over there, do they give you the food and you cook it? Well, they give you the food, which is the good, and they cook it for you, and they present it for you, and they service you the food so that you have an enjoyable time. So restaurants provide you with both goods and services. Can we satisfy all our needs and wants? We talked about needs and we talked about wants. We talked about businesses are the ones who satisfy them by providing us with the goods and services. Can we as individuals satisfy all our needs and wants? Can we just have it all? Can we have every single thing that we need? Unfortunately, we cannot. Why? Because we have unlimited wants. Our wants and our needs are unlimited. However, we have very limited resources in the economy, so we can't actually satisfy our unlimited wants. Most people have unlimited wants for goods and services. You can purchase, for example, if I'm talking about myself, I love shoes so much, I can purchase a shoe every day. Each and everyone has a favorite good or a favorite service. Someone loves gourmet food and loves dining out. They would love to have a night out and a meal out in a fancy restaurant every day. But actually, we do not have the resources in order to satisfy all our needs and wants. However, the more money we make, the more goods and services you are going to want, and the more goods and services that you are actually going to satisfy. If you have more money, you're going to satisfy more goods and services. If you have less money, you're not going to satisfy as much goods and services that you want. What is a resource بقى? I've just been saying that we have unlimited wants, unlimited resources, and the more money we have, the more wants and needs that we're going to be able to satisfy. طب what are resources? What is a resource? A resource, and this definition, you guys, is extremely important. A resource is anything that people can use to make or obtain what they need or want. For example, if you need a new t-shirt, you can either obtain it by having money in order to buy it, or you can make it by having resources. For example, resources بتاعت التيشيرت piece of cloth قماش, and you're going to hire the services of a tailor in order for him or her to make you the t-shirt. Therefore, what I want to say is the resource can either be money or the actual raw materials or resources that you make with the good or a service at the end of the day. Examples of resources can be fuel, labor اللي هو العمالة, people you hire in order that give you service at the end of the day زي الترزي أو tailor, or it can be money. Okay, so again I'm going to tell you the definition. A resource is anything that people can use to make or obtain what they need or want. وكلمة make و obtain are extremely important. طيب, the problem of unlimited wants and limited resources affects individuals, companies, and nations. There is not one single human being on the planet that does not suffer from the problem of having unlimited wants or unlimited resources. Every single individual and every single person, whether this person is a normal individual or this person is a millionaire or this person works in the government or the country itself or the company itself. By the way, companies also experience this. A company that is small and still starting can have unlimited wants of expanding and being a multinational company with lots of customers and a lot of fancy marketing. However, they have very limited resources and very limited money, and people that work there are very limited, so they cannot achieve their unlimited wants. So the problem of unlimited wants and limited resources affects people, it affects countries, and it also affects nations. For example, there are some countries that are very poor in resources that they cannot have roads and bridges and skyscrapers because there is not enough resources in order to have all this stuff. Okay, so it depends on whether it is for individuals, companies, or nations that the unlimited wants and resources change. However, we all suffer from this problem. Later on in chapter 2 we call this the basic economic problem, وهنتكلم عليها in more details, and we're going to dive deeper into what are the limited resources وهنتكلم عليهم أكتر. However, not in this chapter. The problem of unlimited wants and limited needs can be مش fixed, بس we can attempt to fix this problem. How can we attempt to fix it? By deciding on our resources. People make the most of their resources by making the right choices of what to buy. عندي حاجة اسمها the decision making process. The decision-making process is a step-by-step method to carefully consider the alternatives that result in better choices. طيب يا جماعة, أنا دلوقتي I have a certain resource in my hand, I have a certain amount of money, I have certain amount of people that I want to employ to do a certain job, and I need to make the best out of the decisions that I have علشان أطلع بيه in order to come out with the best possible outcome and the most profitable outcome بالنسبة لي. In order to do this, I'm going to go through a step-by-step method علشان أعمل decision making بتاعي. طيب, the decision making process has 5 essential steps. First of all, what do you think is the first step? The first step is identifying the problem. I need to know what the problem is before I attempt solving it. What is it can I not understand? What is it can I not solve? What is it that I do not have the enough resource in order to buy or to get? I need to identify my problem. The second step is I need to list different alternatives. أنا محتاجة alternative number 1 alternative number 2 alternative number 3 وأختار ما بينهم. طيب, how will I choose between different alternatives? I'm going to determine the pros and cons, the positives and negative of each and every alternative, of each and every choice. And then the one that has more pros or more positive sides, I will pick it as the best decision, and then I will evaluate my decision. طب مس سلمى, احنا مش فاهمين حاجة خالص من اللي اتقال ده. طبعا مش فاهمين اي حاجة خالص لان this is extremely general, which is why we are going to take an example. خلونا كده نشوف a problem that Muhammad has 200 EGP and he can't decide whether to save them or to buy a t-shirt that is finally on sale. Okay, Muhammad has 200 EGP and he has been wanting a certain t-shirt for a while, but it was too expensive. and now it is finally on sale. And Muhammad doesn't know whether to save these 200 EGP or to buy the t-shirt that he always wanted. Number 1, we identified the problem. Number 2, list the alternatives. Alternatives هتبقى either to save money for his best friend's birthday, he wanted to save the money for a birthday present, or to buy the t-shirt that he has been wanting for the past 2 months. ادي ال 2 alternatives اللي عندي, in either to save or to spend. Pros and cons of buying a t-shirt. First of all, the t-shirt is in style, and Muhammad happens to have a date with a girl tonight, he wants to wear his t-shirt. That's a pro. It's in style, I have a very special outing, and I want to wear it. However, the con is I will not have money for the birthday present, and my best friend may get upset. ادي pro وادي الكون of buying a t-shirt. طيب, what if he decided to save the money? The pro will be that his best friend will be very happy and he loves his best friend. However, the con will be that he's not going to buy the t-shirt that he has always wanted, and he's going to wear something that is familiar to him while going on his outing tonight. However, the best decision could be emerged between the two. يا جماعة, it doesn't have to be one of the certain alternatives. Life is creative. You are creative. You can come up with a third solution. You can buy another t-shirt that is also trendy, but it is not quite the one that you want, so you compromised a little bit on the t-shirt and still have money to buy the present. You can buy another cheaper t-shirt طبعا, and then you evaluate your decision. If your date loved or your friend loved the t-shirt and told you that you look very nice today, and also your best friend loved his gift, therefore you made the best decision. If this did not happen, therefore you did not make the best decision, and that in itself is okay. Okay, تعالوا بقى ناخد كده a very quick recap of the chapter. First of all, we started by stating that businesses satisfy our wants and needs. واتفقنا ان ال wants are things that you wish you could have, and needs are necessary. هو كاتب هنا necessary wants, بس needs are necessary wants for survival. How do businesses satisfy our wants and needs? Through goods and services. The goods are tangible material things, while services are tasks performed that are intangible. طيب, can I satisfy all my goods and services, all my needs and wants for my goods and services? No, because resources are limited and people can use them to obtain what they want or need. Or resources, I use them in order to obtain goods with services. والgoods with services بيطلعوا لي wants and needs. Resources are always limited and wants and needs are always unlimited.